not having to do a chore to earn it.
Okay, I'm here with Geoff Tudor, SVP of Business Development for Nirvanix. Jeff, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thanks.
So you're also the founder of Nirvanix. Can you tell me a little bit, what is Nirvanix and what do you all do in the cloud space?
Sure, so Nirvanix is a cloud storage provider for the enterprise market segment. We operate 5 data centers distributed around the world, and we pull these data centers together and present this as one large global file system for companies that want to store and archive their unstructured data that they want to get outside of their data center, but yet they still need to keep for regulatory and compliance purposes.
And so for us newbies, unstructured data, how would you define that?
Okay, great. So unstructured data is unlike a database where it's one big object. Unstructured data are things like PowerPoint objects and Excel spreadsheet files and any type of email attachments that you need to keep around for your business, but you don't necessarily need to keep it and have it available as, within a second. You might be able to wait a few minutes for retrieval.
Okay, and so you say you've got these data centers that you own, but the real secret sauce, your IP and your, as I say, the secret sauce comes in the software layer above it. Right? Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. We have built a file virtualization layer that sits above all of these data centers in terms of a logical sense and allows us to put commodity hardware underneath it. And I say commodity, I mean high density, low cost disk storage underneath it. And our software layer presents this pooled storage as one big global namespace. So if you could imagine your hard drive on your computer being a C drive, well, it might be limited to 150 gigabytes or 200 gigabytes. In our space, you can start with as little as 1 gigabyte, but you can expand that up to petabytes of storage and even exabytes theoretically. So you can continue growing your namespace. That's what we call a global namespace. And we simply add more storage across our grid to accommodate your growth.
And so how would this, to help us understand it, how would this compare and contrast to Amazon's S3, their storage offering?
So an Amazon S3 storage offering was built for developers by developers. And it's a really very raw storage offering, but it's done very well for Web 2.0 users who want to build the next Facebook or want to build the next YouTube and don't want to go procure their own hardware to do it. What we're focused on is the high-end enterprise customers that are expecting a quality of service that is enterprise grade. That means that there are people there at the end of the line when they call them with any questions. That means that they can send their security auditors on site to do a site audit to ensure that the security mechanisms in place at Nirvanix match theirs, that can provide the bandwidth they need to support transmitting terabytes of data per week. There's a slew of different things, including data reliability and redundancy, that are expected of an enterprise security provider, which we provide.
So speaking, you mentioned customers. Can you give us an idea of some names? I don't know how many of them are secret, how many you can talk about. But.
Certainly. Okay, a couple of different use cases. One is the largest cloud storage usage ever announced, and that is the NASA Arizona State University library for the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter images, which are coming down as we speak. The LRO, as it's called, is a satellite that's mapping the lunar surface for potential human return flight at an 18-inch resolution. So you can imagine something that large generating massive data sets. These are hundreds of terabytes, and they're being stored on our storage delivery network as we speak. Another example use case is Amylin Pharmaceuticals, which is doing some exciting new work in new insulin drug discovery. And as they create these new protein sequences and tests, it creates a massive amount of data that needs to be stored for extended periods of time. So we're also providing storage for that use case as well.
But a lot of these are sort of Fortune 500. A lot of these companies, a lot of them.
That's correct. Yeah, as well as you have high-profile users like the 9/11 Memorial Foundation, which is needing to archive and protect all of the memories of those loved ones lost in 9/11, which includes video conversation, it includes documents, pictures, all types of things that are being generated, terabytes and terabytes, that they need to store offsite and archive and ensure that it's safe for generations to come, and that's where we specialize.
I want to get back to something you touched on a little bit before, which I think is most people's thoughts and concerns with the cloud and cloud storage is security. So how do you make people feel comfortable that when they have their data with you guys, a sidekick's not going to happen and everything's going to poof disappear?
Well, that is the key to making cloud storage accessible to the enterprise, and that is providing the security and the peace of mind that their data is safe. And so the first thing that we start to do is to provide them the same transparency in our organization that they have within theirs. We are not a bookstore or a shoe store. We do nothing but provide enterprise-grade storage. And we have had auditors from Ernst & Young on site comb through our data center to make sure that our policies for our SAS 70 Type 2 certification are in place. So we have that well documented. We have ongoing inspections by external agencies if it's required by our large enterprise customers to be transparent in our manner of operation. And all of our data is replicated, so we have a good, solid data reliability story. And we have SAS 70 Type 2 controls. So typically we're giving as much clarity and repeatability for data integrity as the businesses are doing it themselves.
And what about, say, the concept of multi-tenancy plays in here, right? So everybody's storage, for lack of a more sophisticated phrase, is all jumbled together. How do you make people feel comfortable that a competitor's not going to look at their data and grab it?
Well, that's also a very key part of our virtual file system is the multi-tenancy that we've built in with an account management system, which even allows you to create sub-accounts within your namespace. So you could be a Fortune 500 or Acme Widgets, if you will, and you wanted to have a private cloud storage for each one of your employees that is inaccessible by other employees. That's all built into our system, and the way that we do it is segment virtually all the information. So there's never the ability to go walk the file system and say, okay, this is budget.xls and it's owned by Geoff Tudor or somebody, and do that type of walk. We completely obfuscate and virtualize a file system, so nobody, if they went on the disk, would ever actually recognize any of the file names or file paths or file directories. All of that stored in a completely different space to protect the user's data. And finally, we find that encryption is very important to providing your data security at rest. So we have built into our Cloud NAS gateway appliance dynamic in-flight encryption, and so as you store a file, it may look unencrypted to you, but as it's transmitted into our storage network, it is encrypted, and it's encrypted at rest with the Cloud NAS software gateway.
Cool. And then just to end with, what do you, as you gaze into your crystal ball, what do you think is going to happen with cloud storage over the next few years? What are some of the trends you're going to see?
Well, I think that the security and data reliability is going to be absolutely essential in helping the overall space grow. We've had a number of early wins that you can read about in the cloud industry in general, but I think every cloud vendor, whether it's Nirvanix or Amazon or Microsoft Azure, this is a large enough space that it's the rising tide lifting all boats, and we really do hope that there are no more danger incidents, etc., where you have less confidence placed in the cloud. So I believe you're going to see more and more movement into the cloud. You're going to see more cloud players announce themselves, and you're going to see companies adopting a cloud strategy and enterprise policy about what data can live in the cloud and what data must remain at home. So it's very exciting. We're at the tip of the iceberg. There's 2 exabytes of tape that ship annually on for data protection, and that represents billions of dollars of potential market share, and we've just started along the path. So it's a very exciting time to be in.
Geoff Tudor, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Martin.